You are welcome back to season 2 of Sex in the Temple. I promise you this is going to be sizzling, informative, and very interactive. Want to thank our sponsors. We really appreciate you. We also say thank you to our viewers for taking your time to view, to share, to like, and also to subscribe. Keep subscribing so we can bring you more informative and educative content. Thank you, Omron Media. You're doing a great job and we appreciate you. So, today we will be looking at a very interesting topic that many people have misunderstood, and that is asexuality. Have you ever heard the word asexuality? If you have not, you're not alone. With me here today, again, we have our gorgeous powerful, strong woman, Counselor Perfect Odromises, who is the founder of Perfect Counseling Network. Ma'am, you're welcome to season 2. We did well season 1, and I'm sure season 2 is going to be sizzling and it's going to be exciting. You're welcome to today's show.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, what is asexuality?
When we talk about asexuality, we are talking about people who don't experience sexual attraction. It's kind of, taken aback. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's not everybody who experiences it. But when you take the population, it's about 1%. Statistics makes us know that in Northern America, it's 1% of the population who
Mm-hmm.
experience asexuality. So when you take the LGBTQ plus whatever people, you see the A in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is for them. So when we
Okay.
take that LGBTQ plus,
Mm-hmm.
it's umbrella that talks about people who are out of the norm. That is heterosexual. So
Mm-hmm.
people who are out of the norm, the lesbians, the gay, the queer, the
Mm-hmm.
transgenders, and all that. People who even associate themselves with beast bestiology and all that.
Mm.
They that umbrella captures all that. So when we are talking about LGBTQ plus and all that, people think it's just the true deviant people, but we are talking about a lot that contains it. And one thing I like to say here is if we talk about that asexual, we are asexual. We are talking about people who are not, it's not the Caliph fathers or somebody who has decided that I'm not going to get married. The celibacy. No, it's not that. It's somebody who don't have the attraction at all. You see, people who decide that I don't want to get married. They have the feelings all right, but they have decided they are not going to act on that sexual feeling.
Okay.
But this group of people don't have the sexual attraction. There's none.
Okay. So, I just to recap to understand what you're saying that asexuals, they are a group of people who are normal,
Yeah.
but they just don't have sexual desire. Either they are not sexually aroused or they don't want to engage in sexual activity. Could there be like a cause? Because you're saying that like 1% to 6%. Some statistics seems to suggest that 1% to 6% identify themselves as asexual. Can we look at history or conditions that maybe say, okay, it falls because of this, is because of that? Are there anything like that? Is there anything, sorry, like that?
You see, when you talk about the essential people, some are just genetics. That's how they are. They were
Okay,
born. You
okay.
understand? That is what research is making us to believe that that is how they were born. But as Christians, we believe that I believe that God created everything and He said it was okay, it was perfect. But
Okay.
because of sin, there's some deviancy and all that mutation, our genes and all that. So we realize that we don't have that perfect world that God created because of sin. There's a lot of things that have gone wayward. So when
Yeah.
you talk about people being that, we are talking about people, they were born just like that. So they
Mm,
don't have any desire for sex or sexual attraction for female or male. No, they are just there. and they are normal, they function normal. Just that the normal crush that people be having, they don't have it. The normal, I want to, oh, you look beautiful, you look nice. Yes, you are beautiful and nice, but that ends there. I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Okay.
They don't. And
Okay.
sometimes too is the trauma they've gone through, childhood experiences can make one also to be that. So some people don't just stand up to say that they are asexual people, but it's the situation they have gone through. Maybe growing up, they experienced some traumatic sexual acts and all that, and abuse, what they experienced, their mother going through, being constantly raped and all that. So that sexual desire was marked off. If this is so stressful, if this is so sinful, if this is so bad, then I need not to. So you have a group of people who you realize that they were not born asexual, but rather is the situation, is the environment, is trauma that is making them behave that way. So such people realize that when you show them pictures, naked pictures of women, men, and all that, they have that, they linger to look at it, and they have that desire to do something, but they suppress it and just put it away. Meaning that the desire is there, but they have rather don't want to act on it because of what they have experienced, some in the something in the time past what they experienced. But the other people are they just see it and they push it away. They don't see what's the need of this. Just somebody naked. They don't have
Okay.
any attraction towards it or all that.
Okay, so from what I'm getting from you is that sometimes people decide to be celibate
Yeah,
because of religious reasons, and that can come to a place where they don't allow themselves to be engaged in any sexual
yeah,
activity. Or some people, because of trauma that they've gone through, the body now communicates that whenever there is sex, the body tries to trigger some neurological factors that come in place to say when there is sex, there is pain.
yeah,
So avoid it. Or you have another group that is that they are sexually aroused, they are not celibate, they have not been through trauma, but mentally they are not engaging themselves to go through with the process.
yeah.
Is it common only to men or the women have this as well? So is sexuality, is it only for men or is it men and women?
It's both gender.
All
It's
right.
both gender, yeah. So you realize that most people don't have the education. So they just assume that you grow, you need to get married and all that. But you realize that some people, even in their high school days, they never dated anybody. They never had a crush, even in their uni days, nothing. They grow up and still they don't see the need to even mingle. So when you are forcing them to get married, they are okay to be alone. They don't see the reason why they should engage in sex.
Mm-hmm.
They some don't hate sex, but they just don't like it. They don't see why they should do that. They have no attraction, they have no desire. And you see, some people have form of is the sexual attraction that some don't have. They have the emotional connection, so they can
Mm-hmm.
talk to you and all that. They have the emotional connection, they have the intellectual attraction to for other people, but it's the sex that they don't. So the penetration and the oral and that they don't want it. They
Mm-hmm.
just don't want it. So such people, if you push them to get married, then you are going to have a lot of issues. They'll just be performing it as a duty. They will not enjoy it. They will just be enduring. So realize that get to a point in time, it becomes so difficult a task for them to perform that they always start giving you excuse. And you have some even male. We are not talking about just the female. You have some even male who are married. You realize that they can even go 2 months, 3 months, even a year without even asking for sex if their wife don't prompt them, especially when you give birth and you are I had this elderly person who the wife was telling me that for the husband, if she gives birth a whole year, the husband will never touch her. When she is giving when she is breastfeeding, the husband will never touch her unless she stopped breastfeeding before. And ask yourself how many men will take 2 years to wait for you. And this is a man who is not sleeping around, he's just there. He will sleep on the side of the bed, wake up and go. So we have people who are not, so it's not libido issue. They just don't like the sexual intercourse and all that. So they take it as it's a duty they need to perform in marriage. So if you ask for it, they will perform it for you, but they are not enjoying it.
Wow. Wow. This is deep. As I was preparing for this, I read an article and it says that unfortunately, there's not a lot of study,
Yeah,
research being done on that. And also the population is struggling, like you said, to understand how can a human being, full-grown man, full-grown woman, who is not having dysfunction, who is not traumatized, just decide that I don't want to. And it can be difficult because earlier on you alluded to the fact that there are some who might be sexually aroused, but mentally they are not connected.
yeah,
And also, there was this thing that the researcher was explaining that sometimes if you have adult men or adult women who are so glued and love animation, and they have this special character, this animated character that they
mm-hmm.
love, it can be a sign that if they fantasize, they don't fantasize on, like you said, a woman. Normally, I don't know for other people, it's generally that people
Yeah,
will look and fantasize on a woman and say, if only I have the opportunity, or even men,
yeah,
women will look at the men and say, if I have the opportunity, the things I would do. For them, it's not about the real you, it's about the character of
yeah,
that animation
yeah.
is where they fantasize. And it's strange for somebody to believe. So if we have excluded, like you said, we have excluded celibacy, we have excluded trauma, then we don't just outrightly conclude that, oh, I'm asexual until we have excluded these things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how then do we get to the process of excluding all these things when we're struggling to understand people who are asexual?
You see, first of all, you the individual, you need to know who you are and the kind that you are. Is it a traumatic experience that has made you to think that, oh, I don't want anything to do with sexual attraction, but you enjoy the, as you said, you don't like the physical attraction, you like the personality. So you're attracted to people's personality, how they are, not their physique like you are sitting, but how they talk, their language, how even they form their words, how they laugh. That is what you get attracted to. We have people who are like then the sapisexual, the intellectual. They want to, they get attracted to how you think, how you reason, how you beat your words out. But you see, you must know who you are. I always say this, get to know yourself first before others will get to know who you are, and you can even explain to people so you don't get yourself confused. If as a child you have gone through traumatic experience, it might not be you done to you, but you saw somebody close to you who was sexually abused, who even abuses and the pain and the abortion, somebody dying and all that. So you decide that sex, it's all for me. I don't just want that. It's too traumatic, or maybe you were raped, or your first breaking of virginity was so tiresome and so hard that you thought that no, if this is how sex is, I don't want to have anything to do with it. You realize that you are not the asexual. And if you also decide that I want to worship God, I don't want to engage in sex and all that, I just want to be celebrate and all that, then yours is not the asexual that we are talking about. But if you realize that deep within yourself, when even you don't get married, you are okay. When you
Mm,
don't have any relationship, you are
mm,
okay. People be forcing you to get into relationship, but you know yourself that when you go, you don't see any girl that you are attracted to. And sometimes people think that it's because you have not found the right person, they have not found the right person, it's because they have not experienced sex before, but they know that everybody is beautiful, but I'm not attracted to anybody. They have tried and it backfired. They try, it backfired. So they realize that for the sexual attraction, they don't have it. So they are
mm.
okay being alone.
All right, that's so good. What we're speaking, what I get from what you just said is the fact that they have to be okay with it,
Yeah,
and they have to rule out trauma or anything before they can jump into conclusion that I'm asexual.
yeah,
So if they rule out everything and they realize they are sexual and they are okay with it, then it has no problem.
yeah,
But where they come to a place that they have ruled out everything, but they are not okay with it and they want to go into a relationship, that's where the problem lies.
yeah,
So the reason why I'm clarifying is
yeah,
that we are, in group like in this part of the world, church, mosque, traditional
Mhm.
beliefs and practices. We all just believe that you come to a place, you're mature, you need to get married. How then do you explain to your parent that I don't feel this? They'll start to ask you, are you this? Are you
Mhm.
that? Are you impotent? What's wrong with you? But they see you very good at forming relationships. I mean, emotionally, you can be attached to people, but when it comes to sexual, there's a challenge for us in our church. I don't think we have. I don't think even other religion have make time to look at
Yeah.
people, because once you're in church, they start seeing you say, "Hey, when are you getting married?"
Yeah.
And they'll start. The women's ministry.
Yeah.
We call them Meku. They start looking at the special prayer request,
Yeah.
and they start saying, "Ah, my brother, don't you see sister so and so? She's a very good girl. Oh. What are you waiting for? How do you deal with this pressure? Sometimes it's stressful, isn't
Yeah,
it?"
yeah. The matchmakers start. So you realize that people don't understand that people can be created that they don't want sexual relationship, any they don't want to engage in any form of sexual thing because the world is polluted with a lot of sexual images and everywhere you go, you realize that people dwell on sex that much. The truth is people like sex. So if you think or if you tell them that you don't want it, they think you are weird.
Mm.
Why? Is something wrong with you? Is your organs, your reproductive organs function normally? Or maybe it's too small. That's why he's doing that. Or maybe there's something wrong with him. But sometimes there's nothing wrong with them. That is how they are. They don't want to engage in any sexual. So it's best you explain to them. You see, one reason is if you have a child growing up and your child doesn't get, you see, when the children are growing up, when they are young, they start playing with girls, but when they get to a certain stage, they identify one particular female or male and they get attached to. In the upper primary GSS, SHS, you realize that bond going on, but realize that your child is not that. Just having a lot of friends, they talk and all that, but there's no one single opposite sex that they are close to. You should start asking them, do you like anybody? They don't even talk about any girl, they don't talk about any boy. When even you mention that, oh, leave those things, they are not serious. They are always, you understand. They get to university, the same thing. They are finished university, they are working, and still you don't see any sign of them trying to form an intimate relationship and all that. Sometimes it's not that they want to obey the Bible, it's just who they are. So they don't want to have any sexual relationship with anybody, and it's okay. You see, the Bible says that Paul says that if he wish all were like him, right? But if you can't, get married. So it's not everybody who will have that sexual attraction. So if somebody decides that I don't want to get married, I want to stay alone, I just want to focus on other things in my life, it's okay. And one thing I like to stress here is you should not be stressing people about getting married because everybody knows when they want to get married or they are praying working towards it. They might not be communicating it to you, but mostly daily they are praying about it, getting a life partner that suits them. So if you become a busybody, always want to poke your mouth into why you getting married, why and all that, why all that. Sometimes you'll be stressing people unduly. You push people to make choices that are not what they could have made if you allow them the time, that laxity for them to find the one that they think they can be with. So, as a church, we should be careful. We should not always be reminding people that they are old and all that. We can have sermons, home and family ministries, programs to remind people, but don't personally attack anybody because you see, marriage is not, we don't have timeline for everybody. People, it differs. Some get married early, some get late, and all that. So don't push people. And I also say that somebody who is a sexual person can get married, but they will not be fulfilled. You push them to get married, but they will not be fulfilled, and their partners too will not be fulfilled. So if you are a sexual person and want to get married, you better go for somebody who is having a low libido. So they don't always want you to engage in sex.
Mm.
But if you go in for somebody who is having high, you'll never be happy. You'll be running out. So some people, when they end their marriages, not because of just because they can't, the sex is becoming too much, they just can't, they just want to be alone. But they just want companionship. But in our part of the world, people don't understand mostly. I just want a companionship. I don't want to have sex.
Thank you so much for that. As you're speaking, I'm just thinking now. I think we need the tools and we need the education. And this is what we're doing to try to reach out to people to educate them. But also, we need to come to a place not to force people. And those people identify or who have ruled out all the other factors that may be contributing and rule out and they realize this is who they are. I think they should communicate in such a way and make a choice, informed choice that this is how I want to live. I respect your choice. I respect your decision, but I know me and I function better in this way than to force me to go into a relationship and make me miserable. And for all the believers out there, faithful people out there, I think it's important that we also respect people's decisions and choices. In this part of the world, we've come to a place that we think that we can take it upon ourselves to let them go into a relationship. And out of the respect for parents or out of the respect of the community of faith that they belong to, they will want to do it. But from what you've just shared with us today, we have to be very, very careful, respect people's choices, understand and communicate clearly, and encourage people also to do the right thing. So, for all those brothers and sisters out there, whether it's in the church or in the mosque or the old brothers and sisters who are somewhere else who think that, oh, I think I have to fix, because sometimes we see it in a movie and we think it's a joke, but it's real. We have the sisters who are imposing themselves on the brothers, and we have these brothers who are imposing themselves on the sisters just to get them to a place where they think this is how it should be done. But in as much as we appreciate people, let us also be mindful that they have a life to live, they have choices to make, and if they choose to, we should respect them. Do you have any last word you want to share with us? Like, okay, what's the advice if you notice that this is just a guideline, so just a tool for them to operate in a happy and fulfilled life?
First of all, as said earlier on, get to know who you are. If you don't like sexual interaction, you don't have sexual desire, it's okay, because the Bible is not against it. That is one thing. The Bible is not against it. Paul admonished, if you can be, and all of us cannot be. So the Bible is not against it. It's not homosexuality. It's not the abomination ones. So you are okay. But know that you should have something that makes you fulfill, because marriage brings a companionship. So if you decide not to go into marriage to get married, then look for something that will fill in the companionship for you, because you need the partner in your life. So maybe you're a family member, the church activities, involve yourself in something that it will give you the companionship bit that marriage gives you. And try to explain to people in a calm way that this is how you choose to live your life. And I think people respect it if you voice out to tell them that I prefer to be alone. To a greater extent, people respect you when you keep on telling them the same thing. So be consistent in your reply to people and be gentle and respectful as much. Just let people know that this is how you want to be. And to the general public, it's not everybody who is like you. We have people who are a bit different because of how they were brought up or they are faced, or just the genes. So if somebody decide not to get married, somebody is 50 years, they have not married, somebody is 60, a lady, don't try to push them into marriage. Marriage is not for everybody. Some people just function better when they are just alone. So it's okay to not have sexual desire, but you can have the other form of attractions that there is, so that your life will be meaningful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, viewers, this is where we end today's discussion. I trust that you have learned something. And what I've learned from my takeaway is that respect people's choices, be happy and be fulfilled, and live a productive life. You can be asexual and still live a fulfilled life. Remember, the Bible says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Enjoy your uniqueness. This is Sex in the Temple, and my name is Monique.